In our time, kids grow up and start high school, already aware of the world's expectations, and wonder if the stereotypes about high school are really true.
Today, we live in a world that perpetuates a mystique around the adolescent, a less than positive perception of teenagers.
I think that adults stereotype teens and push their insecurities onto teens, and whether it be their past mistakes with, drinking or drugs or rebellion, I think that a lot of times they don't even take the time to consider that their teen isn't doing that.
They view us as hooligans and delinquents and just messing with society and just little bastards.
I believe that adults view teens as almost like nuisance. We always create the problems. Everything is our fault. It's because of us that this happens.
Yeah, and I think with at 17 especially, it kind of ventures into how adults try to limit or censor teenagers. It's because they perceive us as kind of incapable of being responsible or being mature. They don't trust us enough to make decisions for ourselves.
Adults view teens as they just kind of assume that we do all these bad things, but really they don't give us a fair chance to explain ourselves kind of, and everyone makes mistakes, and that's how we learn. We learn through experiences, and I just feel like adults don't understand that.
At the end of Mother, it's Mother, do you think the wall's too high or something like that? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Because it's with all of this protection that they're trying to shield us, it hurts us, because then when there comes a time we have to enter the real world.
Adults view teenagers as kind of as themselves, they see the mistakes they've made, and they just automatically assume, oh, we're gonna make those same bad choices. So they just view us as a rendition of themselves.
Looked at as Holden's idealism of children and protecting the youth.
Yeah.
His mother really wants to protect them, but it's kind of sick in a way. Kind of like in America, like you said, you can't protect America. It has to go through all this change. It has to make its own mistakes, like all the other countries.
Thomas Hines' Teen Mystique reveals some of the contradictory misunderstandings between teens and their parents, comparing teens to children and sex fiends, calling us the death of our culture, yet also the hope for us all.
This mystique not only sets boundaries for teens on their search for identity, but also makes it hard for adults to adjust to their perceptions according to the individual.
They're trying to find what makes people individual, but the response really has to be is nothing makes someone individual. It's what we choose to do makes us individual.
What separates me from others, I think I don't have one sort of group that I'm committed to. I am open for friendships from every sort of group or aspect. I don't have any preference in music either. I just like all types of music. I'm just kind of an open person, I guess.
Graduate, we see, he's 24, and he's still at home, and he still doesn't know what he wants to do.
He doesn't have a job. He doesn't go to school. There's nothing. And then he acts so brashly when he tries to marry that girl. You can even see at the end, he just he kind of reflects back, why did I do this?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
He himself was very ambivalent. He wasn't really a teenager. He was getting out of the stage into adulthood. But even then, between that gap, he was ambivalent. He didn't know what he wanted. He was controlled by other people.
That's what thinking really is.
Yeah.
He's searching for his place in a world that doesn't necessarily accept him. And he's trying not to make it just about himself, though. It's we work together. It's and that's one thing that I think adults maybe do have right. And, when they group teenagers together, I think we definitely help each other, but we help each other find out why we're different.
Well, I try not to be foolish like everyone else, and I try to stay true to what I believe in, and that's about it.
Adults cannot base their definition of teenagers on stereotypes of adolescents presented in films, literature, etc., because everyone is truly unique.
Like in the movie Rebel Without a Cause, there were social groups, and they were a huge stereotype back then. They just put teens in a certain place in that. And now there's movies like Mean Girls that mock the stereotypical teen.
Okay, you should just know that we don't do this a lot, so this is a really huge deal. We want to invite you to have lunch with us every day for the rest of the week. Oh, it's okay. Coolness. So we'll see you tomorrow. On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Adults today have the misconception that all teenagers desire to conform to one definition of cool. In reality, people admire individuality and styles that reflect themselves and vary from the norm.
Stores now, like, they have like multiple different types of like clothes. It's not just one type. Like with music too, it's like a whole genre. Like years past, you should just offer like one type of thing, and everyone's the same thing.
Yeah. Like there are trends, but you at least have the option now.
Yeah, and you're not like looked down upon if you don't follow the trend now. It's just a different perception.
It's actually cooler if you don't follow the trend.
Yeah.
That way.
Be like fresh, stylish, you know? I mean, someone that kind of like pops out when they walk into a room. That's pretty cool, you know?
I think that society feels that getting drunk and like drinking and partying is cool.
The definition of cool is so wide and so hard to just pinpoint in just a few words that it's basically nothing is cool, because in your mind you can think something's cool, but in someone else's mind they could think the complete and total opposite of what you think. So I believe that that cool has no definition and you can never define it.
In the end, the real battle teens face is with their parents. We wish they understood that not all teens are the same. We wish they could realize that we learned from our mistakes.
I would like to let adults know that the life that we have as teenagers in this day and time, it's nothing like how it was before. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more competitive.
I want adults to know that it's confusing, stressful, because, you know, as a teenager you're supposed to be becoming an adult and you're supposed to be deciding who you're going to be, and, you know, being part of the application process already, it's really hard to try to make up your mind about what you want to do with your life when you're 17, 18 years old.
Teenager varies with everyone and their own experiences.
I'm not a juvenile delinquent.